Hey, welcome to Restaurant Techno Babble, the show where we try to translate all the things happening in the tech stack, all the things happening in the world of innovation, of technology in the restaurant industry. It's necessary, it's helping us, and it's scary as hell for so many people in the restaurants who just want to make food, beverage, and great memories for people. So we take complicated topics. We're going to throw a lot of big words at you, but we're going to take the time and the effort to be able to help you understand those, because we know that they're necessary, and we know that a lot of jargon is getting thrown at us, and we're expected to fake it until we make it and figure out this next generation of restaurants. That's not going to be the case. So with me today to co-host, to mix it up a little bit, is Logan Ripley with United Robotics Group, VP of Hospitality. Logan, good to see you.
Thanks for having me, Jensen. I'm excited to be here.
This is going to be good. We're going to get into a lot. We got a lot to cover, so we're going to get right into it for everybody. 3 big technobabble topics I want to get into. The navigation of server robots is going to be an important thing. So we got those server robots. How do they get around, right? So we're going to talk about operating systems, simple as an iPhone. That's going to be key. We got acronyms, as always, in technology. We got GDPR, ISO. We'll tell you what that means. And directive machine safety. That sounds scary, Logan, for a lot of people. They just robots instantly. They think of iRobots. Will Smith was right. What the hell is directive machine safety? But we're going to get into all of that. So everybody, RTB005 today. We're going to get into that. So we're going to touch on cost. I think that's maybe not a technobabble thing, but we're going to take just a little bit of time so that Logan could break that down for us, because I think we just don't understand what it is. We understand what an oven costs too much, what a fryer costs, what all these equipment pieces and tools cost in the kitchen, and we don't quite understand what this tool is going to cost us. All right.
Sure.
Logan, you ready to get into it?
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right, navigation. So I saw some terms here that I'm gonna throw out. The machine, the Plato, right, is the real robot that we see delivering food running out to restaurants. It's got the Hello Kitty, blinky, happy eyes. We've seen some of those on social.
Sure.
At a restaurant, you might have it at your restaurant. But the navigation side, this is interesting for people because it has a 3x depth sensor, lasers class 1 and infrared. It has 2006-42-EC directive machine safety. These are all protocols and features within the robot that maybe you don't need to know about, but I feel like you probably do, to, again, set you at ease that this is not just a Roomba that is running into walls, right? This is, I think, some of the fear. How the hell, Logan, is this thing going to get to point A to point B safely, not be dropping food, not knocking into people? These are some of the features. What the hell are we talking about here?
Yeah, good question. I mean, broad topic. So, I mean, when it comes down to it, right, and a lot of these topics are connected, right?
Of course.
Directive machine safety. I'll jump forward a little bit, but that's basically certification that aims to make sure machinery is safe in public, right? So when you're creating a machine, you can't just create a machine in your garage and go commercialize it. There's people watching. So luckily, right?
We saw what happened with the Titanic submersible.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right. Jeez.
Let's not just build robots in your garage, please.
Well, I guess you can create machines and try to do it, but it doesn't turn out well, right?
Don't bring them into a restaurant. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, to really commercialize something like it's happening right now, there's a lot of standards and a lot of directives and rules and regulations that go along with it, right? To jump to your actual question, we have 3D sensors, we got LiDAR in this thing, we got cameras on this thing, to basically teach itself its surroundings and teach itself a map, and then prevent it from running into anything, right? If we were putting robots out there running into people, running into tables, we wouldn't be in business very long. So one thing worth mentioning is these cameras, at least for our company for sure, these cameras are strictly for navigation and for safety reasons. I've even asked to kind of get images when, hey, maybe the robot is blocked by somebody or something. Can we get an image to know what's going on, just for
Or
more
troubleshoot.
analysis? For our company, we hold to the highest standards, the highest ISO standards and regulative standards, and it's a hard no. Like we are not allowed to use the camera to do anything but for navigation and for safety. So
Those images are not accessible because we don't want people feeling like the information that's being captured on that camera is accessible to anybody.
Exactly. Yeah, not by us, at least. You know, I can't speak to everybody or everything out there, but Plato, it's a hard no on taking any images. So,
okay. Well, let's do this, because I wanted, then let's jump to that, because if that's a natural way to talk about some of the privacy things, just for a moment on the robot itself. So basically, again, people kind of have this idea of the Roomba is like running around, running into the cat. Like I've heard that a lot from people, and there's jokes. And of course, the videos that you see on TikTok are of the robot running into somebody, or it dropping some drinks and stuff. And I'm sure that those are outliers, but right, that's what you're up against when it's like, well, this is the perceived reality that people have. What's happening is those sensors, those infrared, all of that is basically mapping the space. On the back end, you're also creating a floor map for your space. So that's important. And so it understands where it is, where it's needing to go, where the tables are. You probably have, if you're combining tables, sometimes table 3 and 4 turn into an 8 top. You have those kind of potential protocols in place to restructure the space in real time. That's what's happening in the back end of the navigation side. Now, anything else to add to that?
Well, I'll jump into there. So
please.
You touch upon a good comparison, right, to the Roomba. A lot of this comes down to really the code that's behind it, right? And the operating system that's behind it, right? Roombas are designed to go all the way up against the wall, right? All your dust and dirt collecting along the wall. So it's designed to run into things, right? We do not want to design ours to run into the table, right?
Running in the walls.
So we just have tolerances built in, right? It says, hey, we're not going to go this far. Hey, we're close enough to our point. We're fine. We'll stop here, that kind of thing, right? And then the operating system behind it, you know, it's a cloud-based system, proprietary software that we developed for Plato out of our company in Paris, France. So we're designed and built in France. You know, it really allows for just super easy use. You know, you don't need to be an engineer to use it. You don't need to set your own tolerances or anything like that. Everything's already set for you. You just need to teach it map, teach it a few points, and then give it orders, right? And it's off and running.
Okay, I want to get into that a little bit more, but I do want to. We're going to jump all over the place. People.
Yes.
The camera. I think we all, with our phones, we have a casual conversation with somebody about how much we love donuts, and there's 12 donut ads on our phone. I was like, this thing has to be listening to me right now. Somebody in China is there downloading all of my information from TikTok, right? There's all these things that go on. So we definitely feel like this Plato, it's watching us in our sleep. It's out here trying to take over the world, right? Obviously, that's just,
don't buy into the narrative, Jensen. Don't buy into the narrative.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
We're fighting that narrative.
But that's what we're talking about here, is like the ability to know exactly what's happening with the information. So let's go there, right? There's a couple governing bodies, and I'm just going to break this down for people to kind of know these acronyms. GDPR, you see this thrown around with privacy things. If you're talking about iPhone, if you're talking about TikTok, if you're talking about apps, anything like that. This is the General Data Protection Regulation. This is an EU regulation that kind of set the benchmark. Then you'll see CCPA was kind of the first United States, the California Consumer Privacy Act. This was the equivalent in the United States that then the US took a lot of its cues from across the country. And then ISO, not iOS, not your operating system on your iPhone, ISO. This is the International Organization for Standards. Right? And these are the governing bodies. These are the acts and regulations that we're taking a lot of cues from to make sure that photos aren't being taken, that this thing isn't taking photos of people's credit cards on tables and then giving that information accessible to hackers, right? So dispel all those myths, get into it.
Yeah, so I guess, part of me wants to say, Jensen, they're not myths. That obviously your iPhone is listening to you. I think I didn't believe that a while back, but I now understand that. So what I would say is I can only speak for URG, United Robotics
Please do.
Group, where we hold ourselves to the highest standards for sure. We're based out of Europe. We are GDPR compliant, ISO standard compliant. If you can comply with Europe and California, you basically can comply
Yeah,
with the rest
that's
of the
it.
world,
You're
right?
good.
Now, every other company out there, I can't speak to them. I mean, there's a lot of different companies out there, a lot of them based out of China and
I was
made in
about to say you're
China.
the only non-Chinese manufactured device in the market for
We
restaurants. Is that
are
correct?
exactly
Yeah.
yes, not non-Asian manufactured device in the market. So I mean, I guess just put it bluntly, we take it very seriously. That is one of our differentiators that we lean into. We take data privacy very seriously, and we check the box on every standard and certification you can find. I mean, like I said, it's a real thing, right? There's cameras around. There's cameras out there in public, that are
Yeah.
watching us right now. So we're well aware of the stigma, I would say, of when you say the word robot, right?
Yeah.
There's a
Right.
lot of feelings, a lot of emotions that pop in your head, right? And so we want to, as a manufacturer of what we call Cobiots, right? We try to even turn the phrase a little bit to
Yeah.
put people at ease, right?
Yeah.
We try to do everything we can, again, to put people at ease, right? And that's, this topic is one of those things that we take very seriously. So.
Good. I think it's important to like go right at it.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Because again,
Well, I mean, heck, we want these things to be, mass adopted, right? Massively adopted. So the only way we can do that is to put people at ease and change the narrative, right? Terminator, made us look real bad when you say the word robot, right? I mean, really, at the end of the day, the way we look at it is this is just a piece of equipment, right? It's no different than a dishwasher or a automated mixer in your kitchen, right? I'm sure there were people huffing and hawing when the dishwasher came around, right? But now everybody's pretty thankful for that dishwasher, right? So
yeah,
that's how we look at it.
no doubt. Okay, so operating system. You mentioned this.
Mm-hmm.
This is scary for restaurant people. It's another device. It's another language that they have to learn. It's more data entry. I'm looking at all of my accounting reports and I'm POS reports and I got labor reports and I'm trying to upload new inventory and I have an app on my phone that I have to take pictures of all the barcodes on all my food to and there's just so much fatigue in that process for restaurant people.
Right.
Here's another operating system. I have to figure out how to teach a robot how to get around the restaurant and not bump into people and be efficient with its timing and move at a good pace and have a sense of urgency, full hands in, full hands out. I can't even do that with my servers. And I'm supposed to know how to do that with a robot. That's the gripping fear that people are getting into. But we mentioned it, in this, and you said this to me, it's, you have an iPhone and it's about as complicated as the new software update on your iPhone. So let's break it down. Where does the fear start and where can we kind of dispel some of the techno babble that people are assuming is in this process?
Yeah, I think a lot of the fear starts with, in the past 10 years, when you say the word robot, it's typically been in the industrial space, right? So you're in a manufacturing facility, you're palletizing things, right? And a lot of companies who have robots in their facility will have robotic engineers on staff to control and program this thing, right? So I think there's a feeling out there that, you have to be a coder or an engineer in order to operate
You need
this
a
thing.
full-time
Right?
master's, a mechanical engineer.
Exactly.
Computer
Now,
science engineer.
there are a lot of these people that are working on the solution. They're just working for our company and they're making it as simple as possible for the end user to use it, right? I mean, we designed this thing to be for the server and busser and manager to use, right? As a former server and manager, I can say from my own experience, I don't mean to offend anybody, that we're not always the sharpest tools in the shed. We're not engineers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're simple people. We want to.
We don't think like that. We're thinking human to human, right? A great experience, delicious food. I had this Chianti when I was in Italy. I really want you to try it.
Exactly.
It's just a different type of love language, right?
Exactly. So yeah, exactly. So we made it as easy as possible. Long story short is, Plato comes with a tablet you can hold. It comes with a tablet on its face there, where you essentially control
where the Hello Kitty eyes are.
Yeah. So we don't. Yeah, ours aren't kitties. Ours are more humanoid. But yeah, there's the eyes looking left and right. But
they're
yes,
bubbly and adorable. That's all I
they
know.
are adorable. That I cannot argue with that. So essentially, we've created a software that's no code. I mean, I'm not lying to you when it takes about 5 minutes to teach someone how to do this. My 6-year-old can operate it. It's very, very simple.
My
Essentially,
6-year-old might be smarter than me, but I hear you on
he's
that.
pretty sharp.
Yeah.
But yeah, we what happens when someone gets a robot from us? We come out and deploy, and we teach the whole staff all up and down the line how to use it. Because again, we want to take that anxiety out of it, right?
The
We don't
dishwasher
want
might
people
have
to
to
be.
interact with it. Everybody might.
Exactly. And we don't want that person to be afraid. And one thing you probably everybody will hear is the robots are coming to take our job. That is not the situation with this device, right? I mean, maybe some robots out there are, but this device is just a piece of equipment that will work alongside and for people. So these people have to know how to use it, right? It takes about 5 minutes to train each person. We make sure everybody's comfortable, bought in, can use it. And then we say, go ahead. You now know how to fish, right? With our unit, you can even remap and adjust the program by yourself. We don't need to have field technicians come out and do it for you. Some of our other competitors might be a little bit more complicated. You need someone else to jump in from the manufacturer. Ours is super simple. I mean, if you can operate a phone, you can definitely operate one of these. It's very similar to just one application in your iPhone, right? And to the broader point, a good way to look at it is kind of like a phone. I mean, the robot is a piece of hardware. This phone is a piece of hardware. And then your applications on your phone do different things. Some applications are better than others, right? All our operating system is really an application on it.
Likely the phone is far more complicated.
Correct. It can do a lot more things if we wanted it to, but it's just doing what it's told, right?
So this brings up something when you said that somebody can make changes that you wouldn't need a technician to come out. Are there safety protocols in place that would keep somebody from making it unsafe? Or I know that it has some automated response type stuff that it can do. Somebody all of a sudden, the robot's telling people to get the fuck out of my way. Because, some disgruntled line cook.
Yeah, I mean, there are safety measures in place where we don't give full flexibility to do that, right? So it's going to be programmed with phrases in there. So
we're a little
can't just
Lord
go
of the Flies around here, so
go rogue on you. Yeah, but really the safety is in the cameras and the LiDAR we were talking about earlier. So there's no way to bypass that safety. You can't go in there and change tolerances or make it faster than we designate, right? We put that in a closed box in essence, which allows us to have all those certifications and standards, right?
Got it. And then the interface itself, right? So the eyes and all that, and it does have, some prompts and things that it'll say. So what about some of those things as far as what's happening on the screen? How customized is that? And again, for the benefit, but also for the protection of making sure that somebody doesn't turn that into, I don't even know what.
Sure. Yeah. It's somewhat customizable. I mean, right now it's more of you can choose from what we have given you. So we're not giving you free reign to do everything on there. The actual use case of it, the main use case we're seeing for these is obviously food delivery and busing of tables, right? But really it can take anything from point A to point B. We have people taking people to their tables to seat them with maybe menus and some, roll-ups on there. But when you control it, essentially when it's delivering or when it's collecting, it'll show up and say one of 10 canned responses saying, enjoy your food, bon appetit, something like that, right?
And there is further customization. I've even seen that people can reskin it and things like that. So it's got a look and style of the restaurant. There are some phrases that you can change those 10 can things, but I think that does need a layer of oversight to it, so that again, that we make sure that somebody who's signing off on that has the authority to say we'd like it to say this. So definitely appreciate that.
The skin is pretty cool, and that also opens up a lot of opportunities because imagine talking to a restaurant's really interested and we just can't really, maybe we can't justify the cost right now. They can team up with Budweiser or Coors or
You know,
Coca-Cola, and they can advertise on it that really helps them cover the cost. We're rolling out stuff to Red Bull right now in Austria and Germany,
mm,
right? They're loving it. They just got Red Bulls rolling around a grocery store with this thing, all
I
decked
mean,
out.
we've seen, right? We've had the, the banners, and we've had the neon light ups and stuff like that with beverage brands. We've
Right.
had Coca-Cola on the menu, like these kind of brand collaborations
Mm-hmm.
for product placement, brand awareness things are old hat in this
Mm-hmm.
industry. So you have
Yep.
another opportunity for that as well. And I think that's a smart move, either specialized branding for yourself, co-branding, or or turning it into a NASCAR and
Yeah,
getting,
exactly.
turning it into a further revenue stream on top of its marketing capabilities, because
Yep.
especially kids love those things. Like that
Yeah.
is number one thing for us now that have young kids, I think is great. You mentioned the cost. Let's take just a moment and break down
Sure.
some of the costs, because when I think of one of these robots, instantly the level of technology, how new it is into restaurants, I'm like, I don't have $50,000 for
Mm-hmm.
this
Right.
robot. I can
Right.
barely cover the cost of replacing this dish machine that I have, replacing the oven that never holds temp,
Right.
filling the station that I have currently. Food costs are too high. I can't afford this
Right. There's always
robot.
something with
Break it down.
restaurants, right? Something's always going on. So I
Always.
totally understand that. So we have two models. One, and I kind of group it, think of it like a car model. So you can buy it outright with a warranty for under 20 grand, right? So MSRP is like 19.5.
Okay.
But what we usually recommend is the leasing model. Just like you lease a car, you pay a monthly fee. All service support, warranty is all included for the life of your contract. That's for as little as $20 a day. So for $600 a month for a 3-year contract. And really what we try to do with restaurant owners is really to break it down. I mean, all right, how much are you paying your servers and your bus runners, right? Can we give you a tool for, say you run this 5 or 6 hours a day. Now you're getting down to like $3 an hour, right? For really thinking about it, not to replace a person, but in comparison to a person, right? Can you get an extra set of hands on the floor for $3 an hour? Well, now it starts making sense a little bit, right?
Well,
So,
you mentioned the food runner and host as like two of the biggest ways that it's utilized. Busing as well. Those are like the three
mhm,
biggest ways that I've seen it utilized. So often we'll have a food runner who is standing next to an expo. So like you still need that expo, but then that food runner. And there's so many times I remember having only the expo who also is the food runner. The second they run food away,
right,
then 32 things happen at that window. They're trying to catch
right,
up, and it creates this backlog. So often we had an expo and a food runner, and that
right,
second person was literally just running food. So that expo was static. They were a fixed feature
right.
in that restaurant,
Not
controlling the
allowed to move. Yep.
flow back
That's
and
the way.
forth.
That's the way it should be. They're not allowed to
Host,
move.
same thing, right?
Yep.
Host, same
Yeah.
thing, where it was like, well, we have to have two hosts because somebody has to be at that door. We cannot have that empty host stand. It's a bad look. Somebody's, answering
Hmm.
the phone. Somebody's that face right
Right.
when somebody walks in. So there's the second host who's actually the one taking people to the tables, which
Right.
makes a lot of sense there.
Well, and if you think about it too, Jensen, like how much time does a server spend going back and forth in the kitchen, right?
Right.
Right. I mean, that was at least half of my time.
Oh man.
So if you can free up that time for a server, then what, right? Then they can help Expo. They could obviously spend more time with their customers, driving up ticket prices, giving a better customer experience, more recommendations. They can help host. I mean, their time is freed up to do so much more. They could cover more tables, right? So that's the main task for us. It's like, how can we take away the mundane? Like, we're not taking someone's job. We're not taking orders. We're not taking credit cards. We're taking something from point A to point B, right? What we find a lot is the servers are actually, they're resistant at first. And then once they get to know it, they're like, oh, this is great. I don't have to go back and forth. You know, how many slips and falls and arm injuries we have every year? I mean, there's stats on there that I could geek out and tell you, but obviously, if we can eliminate that motion, the back and forth, in our eyes, it's a benefit, and restaurant owners are really coming around to that idea. So,
Okay. I like it. That was a lot of techno babble in one episode.
yeah,
Logan.
hopefully demystified. But
Logan, that's good. And that's what we need. Like,
yeah,
this is happening. It's going to become mainstream adoption at different styles, at different levels, in different ways. Robotics will be a part of that. It's just to your
yeah,
point. We've We've gone from hand whisking everything to having KitchenAid mixers, and to having blenders, and to having smart ovens, and all these things happened and been an aid to us in this process. We're in that very early phase. We have no idea what we're doing with this type of technology adoption. So we have to kind of have that pioneer mindset a little bit more. And this is what it's going to take. We got to like really get beyond the techno babble, beyond the fear and trepidation and the reality. To your point, those aren't myths when it comes to some of those data and privacy and security issues. So we have to be diligent on them. We have to really understand that somebody's working on our behalf. So Logan, good stuff, man. Appreciate you. All right, everyone. That was Restaurant Techno Babble presented by United Robotics Group. That is Logan Ripley, VP of Hospitality. Hopefully you understand what's happening with robotics just a little bit more. And let us know if you have robots in your restaurants, if you're considering it, if there's a spot that you love to go to that has it. Share some video links with us. We love all of it. Appreciate you all. Cheers.